Did Coach Prime Deion Sanders use the Dallas Cowboys opening for leverage against Colorado, Rick George and the Buffaloes? Let's talk about it. I didn't really think about this until it was brought to my attention, but let's talk about it after the bumper. Stay tuned. What is going on, everybody? What is going on, everybody? My name is JeffLightsyJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYjr. YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because I upload all the time. Now, Coach Prime, obviously, it was the talk of the town less than 2 weeks ago when it comes to the opening for the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys still have not found the next head coach after allowing Mike McCarthy's contract to expire after 5 years in Dallas. Mike McCarthy is no longer the head guy. He's out. And a lot of talks were about Coach Prime being the next guy in. Mike McCarthy out, Coach Prime in, question mark? Well, that was the talks. And it seems as if those talks have died down and Coach Prime of the Buffaloes have continued on with their strength and conditioning program going into spring football. They've announced a new strength and conditioning coach. They've announced, I think, a new special teams coach. They have a new NIL collective guy. You don't make all of these moves post Shador, post Travis, if you plan on moving on. Like that, these announcements that the Buffaloes have made in recent weeks, right? And really in recent days with their new strategy as far as NIL and announcing a guy who's going to handle their NIL. I forgot his name, but they have someone in there. They obviously announced the hiring of a new strength and conditioning coach, adding to the two that they already had. And obviously, this is a world post Shador Sanders, post Travis Hunter. Caden Salter looks like he's going to be the guy to take over, and then eventually down the line, Juju Lewis. You don't do all of these things if you plan on being the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. Let me repeat, you don't do all of these things that it seems that Colorado has done if you plan on being the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. And so why would the Deion Sanders, why was that ever a thing? Right? It doesn't look like, because here's the thing. Here's my thing on this too. I think the NFL had one shot to get Deion. It was right now. I think the Cowboys, if they were serious about hiring Deion Sanders, they probably would have had a legit shot at that. But you would have to formally interview him. So the way it kind of went down is Jerry just called Deion. I mean, that's his home. He signed Deion. He gave Deion millions of dollars. They love each other. All of that stuff. Yop de yop, whoop de woo. All of that. Deion's in the ring of honor. All of that. Super Bowl champion. All of that. So he called him. It's his homie. They've been to games. Deion lives in Dallas. All of that stuff. So he just called him and just explored. And there was the talks. Adam Schefter, Jordan Schultz, all the NFL insiders was like, more talks will be coming. Well, I'm not so sure if those talks ever really came to fruition, because when NFL teams, as you know, when NFL teams interview candidates officially, like when they officially interview a candidate to have it go on the books for the Rooney Rule and all that stuff, they have to announce it. So when you see candidates, even for teams that know who they're going to hire, like the Patriots knew they're going to hire Mike Vrabel, but they still interviewed Byron Leftwich, still interviewed Pep Hamilton, and announced those interviews. Same with the Jaguars, and same with, you see who the Raiders are interviewing, and the Bears just recently hired Ben Johnson, all of that stuff. They still have to formally announce who they're interviewing. And that never happened with Deion and the Cowboys. And so I say all of this to say, I think the Cowboys, if they were truly interested in hiring Deion Sanders as their head coach, I think they would have had a shot this year. I don't see Deion passing up I don't see him going to the pros now if he's turning down, well, not necessarily turning down, but doesn't get the Cowboys job. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The Giants have the 3rd overall pick. Number 1, Tennessee, all signs are kind of pointing towards them hiring or drafting Cam Ward. Number 2 is the Cleveland Browns. And most people thought, Cleveland, Shador, whatever. Deion ain't letting Shador go to Cleveland. let's be real. Deion Sanders is not allowing Shador. He already came out and said he's not going to let his son go to every team. I believe one of those teams would be the Cleveland Browns. I don't think he's letting Shador go to Cleveland Browns. And so number 3 is the Giants. Well, here's why the Giants are interesting. Because the Giants, a lot of people thought Giants would fire Daboll after this year. But they didn't. They kept Brian Daboll. They kept the GM. They have an opportunity to draft Shedeur Sanders this year at number 3, and I think they will. I think they'll get the chance to take Shedeur. I think they'll end up getting him. If that happens, and let's just say Shedeur, like most typical rookies, Caleb Williams missed the playoffs. A bunch of the rookie quarterbacks, a bunch of them actually made it. Jay Nails might end up in the Super Bowl. Bo Nix went to the playoffs. Drake May missed the playoffs. They have a top pick. So say he has a rookie season like Drake May. Drake May had a good rookie season, in my opinion. They just weren't a very good team. And so they're now back at the top of the draft. But what happened with Drake May? His coach got fired. And that was a one-year coach. That was a coach after 1 year. Brian Daboll's been in New York for a few years, and he was a part of the tragedy that allowed Saquon Barkley to leave the building. He was a part of the tragic decision to pay Daniel Jones $45 million a year, a big-time contract. And so he was a part of this tragic season that has them sitting at the number 3 overall pick. They couldn't even tank right. Now they do have Malik Neighbors. They couldn't even tank right. And say another disastrous season, a 7-10 season happens because Caleb Williams' coach got fired, and I think they went 7-10. There was some bad decisions in there. And the Giants go 7-10 and fire Brian Daboll, fire the GM. Who's to say? Who's to say Deion wouldn't be in the running for the Giants job next year? Because now he gets the opportunity to coach his son in a legit way. Now, that's beside the point. That's down the line. Was he using the Cowboys job for leverage? I don't think so. If you're Deion Sanders at Colorado, you have all the leverage in the world. You're Deion freaking Sanders. You just brought Colorado. 2 years ago, Colorado won 1 game. 2 years ago, Colorado was the worst program in FBS football. 2 years ago, they were the worst program. I'm not saying FBS. They were the worst program in Power 4 football. 2 years ago. Year 1, you only win 4 games, but you have some of the highest rated games in college football, period. You had a couple of games that hit 10 million viewers at Colorado. 10 million viewers. A lot of us were staying up to 2 a.m. Eastern time to watch the Buffs play Colorado State. Schools like that. Then this year, you win 9 games. You have a Heisman Trophy winner. You have a guy, 2 kids, I think, that are going to go in the top 3 of the NFL draft. You have all to go along with the high TV ratings. It wasn't as much hoopla. It was a lot quieter, but more successful. A lot quieter, more successful. And everybody's still tuned in, hanging on every single move that you make. So what leverage does Deion Sanders need? Like, allegedly, there's a contract extension on his desk right now, allegedly. He doesn't need leverage. He didn't need Jerry. I mean, Jerry, thanks for throwing me a bone, but did I really need it? Not really. Deion freaking Sanders. I'm Deion Sanders. So I don't think he was using the Cowboys as leverage. If anything, the Cowboys was using Deion as leverage. Make the job seem more appealing. Now, granted, it's the Cowboys. It's the most valuable franchise in the world, right? It's the most valuable sporting franchise in the freaking world. So, I mean, I don't know how much leverage they need, but to make the job, because Troy Aikman went on TV and said the job isn't what people think it is. And so maybe Jerry was using Deion to make the Cowboys job more appealing than what it really is, because the Cowboys kind of a mess, right? You got Dak on the most expensive contract in the history of the NFL, which isn't good. He's coming off an injury, and Dak's just Dak. I mean, it's no disrespect to Dak. He's a good player, but he's not going to elevate your team. You still got to pay Micah. You paid CD. You're very, very expensive right now as a team, and you still haven't paid Micah Parsons. And you can't run the ball. And your offensive line is shaky. That's what got your quarterback hurt. Offensive line's shaky. Can't run the ball. Can't stop the pass. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think Deion was using the Cowboys as leverage. I do think Deion could be in play for the Giants next season if they draft Shedeur. That's just me. But that's foreshadowing. At the same time, I don't think he was using them for leverage. I think ESPN may have been using Deion for leverage. See, that's the thing. I think the networks, most notably ESPN, was using Deion and his name for leverage and tying it to the Cowboys job. I think that, because that works better for them than it does for Deion. I mean, what's he got to do? It actually makes it more difficult when you're out recruiting, you're out trying to hire staff, you're out trying to do stuff in college football when people keep circulating your name with the freaking Dallas Cowboys as you're trying to build a roster that you hope to replace superstar talents on your team that are going to be top 5 picks in the NFL draft, that being Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders. So you're trying to build a roster that can actually compete for high-level games when it matters the most. and win double-digit games next year. You won 9 games. Let's win 10 or 11 games. Let's get to the playoff. You're trying to get into the playoff, losing a top 5 quarterback, right? Losing a Heisman Trophy winner. You're still trying to improve the roster. And so having your name being floated around the Dallas Cowboys in the midst of transfer portal season, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. You don't need any contract negotiation leverage. You are Deion freaking Sanders, who just had a player win every award that he could win, and the Heisman Trophy, and a quarterback that's going to go top 5 in the draft. So no, I don't think he was using it for leverage. I think ESPN and Jerry Jones, more so than anything, was using the Deion Sanders to the Cowboys for leverage, for content purposes, and for Jerry to make the job seem more appealing than it actually was. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Once again, my name is JeffLightsYJr. This is the Victor Formation Sports Show right here on JeffLightsYJr, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your content. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and notification bell because I upload all the time. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.